I think we're ready to get started now. So thanks everyone for joining. Today's webinar we're really excited about is a new partner of ours, Bright Pattern. And just, I can't say enough in terms of how excited we are about what they have to offer and what they can bring to our clients. I think in my case, I've seen three fundamental technology shifts in my time in IT. The first was the release of ITIL and ITSM best practices in the late 90s. The second was really the really fundamental shift of service management technology to the cloud in like 2010. And I believe this could be the next kind of fundamental shift in terms of helping organizations fundamentally change how they're delivering service through AI, through automation, through omni-channel. So we at Ivanti are really excited about it. And I think the content and what you're going to see today will be really great. So again, my name is Paul Kelsey. I'm from Ivanti, and we have several presenters here. Kevin J. Smith, who's a industry author and expert, and to kind of be leading you through some of his visions. And Richard, who is the technical man on the presentation today, will be going through and giving a demonstration. So there's a picture of myself from many years ago, as you can see, probably time to update it. But again, we really appreciate your time. We are really excited about kind of this new partnership, and we thank you guys for joining today. So Kevin, I'll let you carry forward. So here's the agenda that we have. I won't go through it and read it, but this is what we'll be covering off in today's session. Feel free throughout the agenda today to submit any questions you may have. We'll either address them immediately or we'll kind of cover them off in the Q&A section at the end. So again, thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you, Paul. And I'll echo Paul's comments and provide our thanks for joining us. We know how much you have demanding your time. We really appreciate you spending the next 50, 55 minutes with us. And we want to go through at a brisk pace some of these tips because we, as ITSM practitioners and ITSM fans, I'd call myself a fan of ITSM and a fan of IT, we never stop learning. And I think that commitment to learning and to the ongoing process of learning is really, really important. It's an important mindset to have. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through 6 tips. Again, feel free to ask us any questions that you might have, but we're going to highlight 6 things that can really make a difference. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to call it turbocharging your ITSM. And I think, in fact, that's very accurate because one of the things that we have to do when I have a chance to work with ITSM teams and I tell them what they have to accomplish in the years ahead, one of those things is just going faster, just simply velocity, because velocity hasn't really been a focus of ours in ITSM. And so this talks right to tip number 1, which is automate your ITSM processes. And it's a fair question to say, okay, automate sounds good. Oh gosh, Kevin and Paul and Richard, how much do I need to automate? Well, first of all, most organizations are only at 20 or 30% today. If you're below that, it's okay. There's still hope. It just means you have more room for improvement. If you're above that, well, great, congratulations. It means you're a little bit ahead of the curve, but most are in that 20 to 30% range. And you need to look at 90%. So that's the benchmark. The benchmark is we need to have service management 90% automated by the year 2025. And I think it's very achievable. It's achievable because there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. There are things that you can do better, clearly. You can automate very quickly, and we're going to talk about some of those on the call today. But when you look at the tools that are available, the tools are fantastic. So the tools have gotten better. We understand our processes better. And this is the benchmark. This is the gold standard for where we want to be, is you want to get to 90% by the year 2025. That gives us 5 years, and we can do a lot. We can move mountains in 5 years. And so I'd just encourage you to build a plan. And just start simple. Find a couple of processes to automate. Start simple, and it'll be remarkable how much progress you'll be able to make. But we've got to strive for that 90% by 2025. So our second tip is, hey, AI, we've talked about AI for decades, really. And for many of us, there were times possibly when AI did not live up to the hype. It did not live up to its potential. But the reality is that AI is ready today. AI is really good. AI is strong. It's much more usable. And you really want to be leveraging. I just gave you that 5-year challenge and getting to 90% automated by the year 2025. You really want to leverage AI. It could be natural language processing, and in the context of what we're showing you today, direct agent support, they can be supported with suggested AI responses, conversational AI, which is fantastic. It really improves the voice experience with an agent and how we can deliver customer support and customer service. And we're talking in that context of AI, kind of the interaction element of AI and the human and AI integration. But AI can be used throughout service management. We're talking about service management today. We can use AI in change management. We can use AI to enrich the service catalog. AI is making chat better. Chatbots are getting smarter every day. You know, we used to think of chatbots as, oh, they're kind of cute, but they're not very smart. Well, chatbots are getting smarter and at a remarkable rate. And so we're going to give you some examples of how you can leverage AI. And the fact is, you just can't be a world-class service management team in the years ahead if you're not leveraging AI and automation. And we've given you 2 examples. We'd love to talk about it for hours, but in all respect to your time, we're trying to get through these tips briskly. I think I used the word to show you some live product, which I think you guys will really appreciate. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is you really want to empower users with self-service vehicles, with self-service channels. And the fact is that self-service done poorly is bad for everybody. But when we do self-service well, it is truly transformational. And I'll tell you why. That's a big word. I love to use that word. But the fact is that when we do self-service well, it's fast, it's cost-effective, it operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is convenient. We can do what we want, like more and more from an endpoint, from our smartphone or from our tablet. And so what happens is the company loves the model because it's cost-effective, and users love the model because they're happy. It's a great experience. And that is a big part of self-service done well, is just making sure that the user experience is easy and it's convenient. This is not complicated. We want users to be able to do what they need to do in just a few steps and just a few minutes. And just think of the potential savings there over talking to the traditional agent, which is on the average an 8 to 12 minute exchange. Self-service done well is 2 or 3 minutes. And so everybody wins, really. And that's where I would challenge you is if you are using self-service today, and by the way, in this context, it's incident management, because service catalog is a slightly different animal. But that's where you start, is if you're not happy with self-service, look at how easy is it, look at how convenient is it. And normally when you get those things right, self-service is going to be awesome. Okay, we're over halfway. I know the team was worried I might talk for 45 minutes just on the tips, but rest easy, everybody. We're going to have these done in just a few minutes. So tip number 4 is enabling mobility and the use of digital channels with omnichannel technology. And this is really important because traditional ITSM is mainly live agent voice focused, talking to an agent. And that's okay. That's the way we grew up. We did it that way for 25 or 30 years. But we really need a multi-channel capability going forward. And these channels are fantastic. It's funny because our personal lives have trained us to be very comfortable with these channels. And there's a very good chance that in what you do as a consumer, or what you do in learning, or in shopping, or whatever you do, entertainment, that you're already familiar with these channels. But whether it's SMS or chat or social media and more, these must be channels that we leverage, and the transitions between channels should be seamless. And the fact is that when we, again, a lot like self-service, when we do these right, chat is a natural for service management. SMS is a natural for service management. Social media is a social media platform or social media-like platform is an awesome way to communicate within IT and with the business. And so what we're doing with these omni-channel technologies is bringing all of this together and making it seamless. So if you can envision it, we can make it happen with communications. And just in terms of world-class, let's come back to best practices, something that we're all familiar with. Best practices in service management, that is going to be rewritten over the next 5 years, and it's going to include multi-channel communications, because we just can't keep doing this the old-fashioned way, brute force, dialing the phone and talking to an agent. And I know many of you are moving past that, but the reality is, to give you another number, the reality is that direct agent interaction, voice to voice, for example, on a phone, has been the majority of interactions. It's now becoming the minority, and it's going to become a special case. It'll become 10% of what we do in the next 4 or 5 years. And so let's set our expectations around that and embrace these multi-channel communications, because they're rich, they're fantastic, they're fast, and they're super effective. One thing that we've got to do in service management going forward is we've got to make sure that we have really happy customers. And I know that seems like common sense. It seems like a no-brainer, but it's remarkable how often we sort of get lost in the day-to-day demands of service management, and we're not able to focus on customer satisfaction. This is, by the way, this is a natural thing in other parts of the business. It has not been natural for IT. So IT, part of what is going to happen when we transform IT and sort of the renaissance of IT, the rebirth of IT, is going to be very much focusing on customer satisfaction. And we've got to love our customers. We've got to make them happy. And you may be thinking, one or two of you may be thinking, wait a minute, I thought this was an IT forum. What does that have to do with IT? It has everything to do with IT, because IT systems, the systems of IT, touch all of our employees and touch all of our customers. Think about that. Email, CRM, sales quoting, ERP, service management, the list goes on. And all of those systems are an opportunity to better serve our customers. And the point here is that every interaction is important. Every customer interaction is valuable, because there are lessons to be learned there. There's information to be harvested there. And the great thing about monitoring 100% of interactions is we get that information immediately. And, you know, Richard's going to give you some examples of this, but you can immediately identify something that we did great. And I don't want to just focus on the negative, but you can also immediately identify a challenge with a customer. If you have an unhappy customer, guess what? They're not going to get any happier as time goes on. So you got to get to that customer immediately, address the issue, make it right, and turn that unhappy customer into a happy customer. And by the way, some of the most loyal customers we will ever have at one point were unhappy, and we did whatever it took to make them happy and turn them into a thrilled and loyal customer. So monitor 100%, respond to customer challenges immediately. That is a very powerful formula. And then tip number 6. So this is our last tip, but I wanted to talk about platform just for a minute, because it's really important. And one of the wonderful things about BrightPattern, it's easy to get excited about, is it works seamlessly with your existing service management solution with Ivanti Service Manager, and really leverages that service management capability and is complemented with really, really exciting deployment times, a very compelling ROI. I think BrightPattern, I cannot think of a single ROI in the market that is better than BrightPattern. BrightPattern really has a very compelling and exciting ROI, something we're all looking for, something that makes it easier to make an investment when we know we can get a reliable ROI. But the last thing I'll leave you with is in service management, whenever we do anything, whether it's designing a business process, whether it's implementing a technology, anything you do, I want you to think about in terms of how scalable is this? How agile is this? How fast is this? How will this enable me to perform faster? How reliable is this? Does this solution, does this process, does this technology allow me to work around the clock and service my customers around the clock? And that's really the platform approach. is don't just think in terms of getting something done. Don't just think in terms of implementing a technology or a tool. Think in terms of, hey, what is my opportunity here in terms of scalability? What's the opportunity here in terms of speed? Look at those key elements and make sure, demand that of your platform. And that's the good stuff about a platform. Platforms are not just for platform's sake, to be able to say, hey, we're doing a platform. You really want to make sure you get those other benefits. And when you get that, you're really bringing value to all of IT, because in many ways, service management is the hub of the wheel. But then you're bringing that value to all of the business, to all of the organization. So I'll leave you with that. Let's expect a lot of ourselves, because we're going to be leading IT and the business into the future. And I'll turn it over to Richard to show you some of this exciting capability in action.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Yes, let me just turn my video off there. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully, if you can tell me when you see that.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So I'm going to show and demonstrate some of the capabilities of BrightPan and how we can enable Heat to give you an idea of the compelling advantages an integration can deliver. First off, finding an incident. Automatically identify an incident for a customer. This demonstration shows a system finding an incident based on caller ID. I'm going to call into the service desk, and the system will recognize me from my number and will find my open incident. In this case, I'm going to be Aaron. So I'm just going to show Aaron's incident. He's got one here. This is an active incident. So we can use text-to-speech to read back the summary to help the customer confirm we have found the right incident. This makes things easy for the customer and also easy for the agent. There is no messing around looking for an incident. Here's the agent's BrightPan screen, where I'll make sure I'm ready to receive a call. Just changing my status. When I call in, I'll be using voice to tell the system what I want, and a conversational AI will be used to understand the customer's requirements. Identification of the customer and incident means we also have the ability to route to an assigned agent already working on the case and open the incident on the desktop as the call is delivered. Okay, I'm going to use my mobile to call into the service desk line now.
Hi, Aaron. Are you calling about incident number 11245 regarding PC is very slow? If so, say yes. Otherwise, tell me how I can help you.
Yes.
Connecting to an analyst.
Okay, we can see the screen pop of the incident so the agent can begin helping the customer immediately. And they're finished with all the latest information on this ticket. Other options would be to open a new incident or service request with the employee details pre-filled. In this case, the agent is connecting using our embedded soft phone over here on the left-hand side. And it allows full call control, including transfers, consult, conference, blind transfers, and an address book. And you also have the option to use your current desk phones if preferred. BrightPan also records the voice and, if required, screen for later playback and analysis. Okay, when we finish this call, we help the customer. When we finish the call, we will be automatically presented with a survey. Answers could use voice or a keypad entry. In this case, I'm going to give, as I finish this call, I'm going to give the agent a low score, and we'll show how we deal with this later on.
Using the numbers on your telephone keypad, please answer our short 3-question customer satisfaction survey. Was your issue resolved on your first contact with us? If resolved, press 1. If not, press 2. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the most satisfied, how would you rate your overall satisfaction with our service?
Just a 2, low.
On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how likely are you to recommend our product to a friend or colleague?
3. We'll see how we deal with that later. Okay, the survey data is added directly into BrightPan for real-time historic reports and quality management process. Alerts, as we can see here, can be sent to agents and supervisors when surveys with low scores are received. These could be emails. Okay, dealing with major issues. To try and stop the service desk being overrun and stressed by major issues, we can use the integration to automatically publish an IVR message. By using text-to-speech capabilities, we can automatically log incidents linked against a problem or master incident without needing the input of an agent. Go back into Heat, and we'll look for problem. We'll look to publish a problem. Open this one up. So I'm going to select Publish to IVR and just save that. This is a flag we set for so that IVR can recognize and read back the summary. We can put controls and an authorization process around this. Example, we can use button security to set the field. And so we will read back the summary, but we could also use a different field, maybe a separate one for ETA, allowing for ongoing updates. I'm going to call back into the service desk this time. We're going to hear the problem. I'm on the service desk with my mobile.
There is currently a major issue. Intranet is down, expected fix by 2 p.m. If this is currently affecting you, please say yes and we will contact you when it is resolved.
Yes.
Your incident number is 11543. We'll notify you when it's resolved.
Okay, we've automatically created an incident and linked it with the problem. You'll see this down here if I just open up the incidents. A quick search. This is the new incident created. So it's linked there. Resolution and updates will then work against all these linked incidents, and we can send out emails and SMS notifications to the customers. The other advantage, and an important advantage of this, is that we've captured all the important stats regarding the issue, allowing you to make decisions later on. Just to publish before we leave this problem. Okay, login incidents by voice. There are times when capacity has been reached by the service desk. However, you want to service the customer with minimum effort on the customer and service desk side. Allowing people to log incidents automatically over the phone will help provide a quick and easy option. Using voice transcription, we can put text straight into the incident. A conversational AI is used to understand the caller's intent. Okay, again, I'll call into the service desk. This time I'm going to log an incident.
Hi, Aaron. Are you calling about incident number 11543 regarding intranet is down, expected fix by 2 p.m.? If so, say yes. Otherwise, tell me how I can help you.
Log an issue.
There are currently no agents available. Would you like to log an incident now or wait for an agent?
Now, please.
How would you describe your issue in a few words?
I cannot access Excel. It seems to be an account issue.
Creating a new incident. Your incident number is 11544. We'll notify you when it's resolved. Would you like to discuss it with an analyst?
No, I'm fine. I've been served. As we can see, if we go into the new incidents, or active incident, and look at Aaron, we can see now we have the new incident created, and that's been put into the system with minimum effort, with all the detail captured into the description and summary. Customer can feel that they have been looked after, and the service desk can get to the issue as soon as they're free. Now, we're all very aware of the disruption and effort that password resets cause the service desk. Automating the process with Brightpan brings huge ROI and frees up the team, allowing them to invest more time in service improvements. In this demonstration, we use voice biometrics to authenticate the user, and then we can reset a domain password. However, we could use on-file confidential details and include two-factor authentication by sending a code via SMS or email. I'm going to call into the service desk line again with my mobile, this time to reset my password.
Hi, Aaron. Are you calling about incident number 11543 regarding internet is down, expected fix by 2 p.m.? If so, say yes. Otherwise, tell me how I can help you.
Can I reset my password?
After the tone, say, never forget tomorrow is a new day.
Never forget tomorrow is a new day.
Try again. After the tone, say, never forget tomorrow is a new day.
Never forget tomorrow is a new day.
You have been successfully authenticated. Say OK to reset your network password.
Okay.
Your password has been reset. Your temporary password phrase is moon2kind. To repeat, MOON2KIND. Please log on and you will be prompted to change the password to a new one.
Okay, that can be repeated as required. And as you log in, you reset your password. Emails would be sent and an incident created for audit and security processes. This time it's a resolved incident. So I'm going to show all incidents against Aaron. And this is a new password reset, which was just created. So your security team can see that. Okay, how can we offer self-service via other channels, including sort of chat and social? Integration with BrightPattern will bring the omni-channel capabilities to the service desk, connecting you with the customer the way they prefer. Chat channels include SMS, web, and social, such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Line, Twitter, WeChat. Just going to go on to a company intranet page I have. So we utilize the same automation, intelligence, and self-service features regardless of the channel. I'm going to quickly show you how the BrightPattern chat widget embedded into a web page will allow you to log incidents, service requests, get updates. So this is the intranet web page, and I've added the BrightPattern widget, which is configurable through the BrightPattern administration interface. I've enabled the simple login of an incident through web chat, and again, this could be via SMS or social. So I'm going to open up the chat. In this case, I'm going to use email to identify myself. It could be other identification attributes, or in many cases, it's passed on from the web page. Let's select log a new incident. I'm presented with a form, and I'm just going to fill this out. Stopped working. My mobile phone stopped working, phone screen, and I dropped. I'm just going to submit this. It's instantly creating an incident. I do not need to speak with an agent at this point. So we go back to Heat and we can see this incident. You can see the instance being put straight in. Again, without interaction directly with the service desk, and we didn't need to chat to an agent. Now, there's been some promotions in the organization, and I'm going to upgrade this user to a VIP. Now, this will allow for priority routing, specific messaging for this customer, and an indication to the agent when the call or chat comes in. I'm also going to add a journal update. We ordered a new phone. Weeks to be delivered. Okay, so we've upgraded the employee to VIP and added a journal. Now the customer is going to come back on the intranet again later on, looking for an update. Update an existing incident. So again, it displays the previously created information. So we've got incident, it's found the incident, and we want some more detail on it. And here's the latest update summary. We've ordered a new phone. It may take 5 weeks to be delivered. Do you want to chat to an agent about this? In this case, I do. 5 weeks is a bit long. So come through to an agent here. So the bright pattern screen opens up. We can see a special note's been added to tell the agent they're a VIP, and it would have been prioritized through the call queue. Again, the incident is opened up automatically for the agent, and the agent can see the previous self-service part of the conversation, so they have full context. You can read through that. Just as with the soft phone, the agent can transfer to other team members across the organization or conference them in. Chat interface also allows for personal and shared canned messages, so you can reply straight back. There's also the ability to transfer file attachments directly, both directions. And to this day and age, we've got emojis, which everybody loves. Okay, whilst we're on the chat, I'm going to switch over to a different browser session, and we can see what a supervisor can monitor. So this is a supervisors tab, and logged in as a supervisor. It will show you teams and basically if agents are available in their teams and what status they're in, if the queues are busy and how they've been tracking for the day. Also, we can see exactly how our agents are dealing with the interactions. This covers both voice and chat. You see this. Robbie's on a call. We can monitor this agent. And in this case, I'm going to coach, which allows me to chat to the agent without the customer seeing. And if required, we can barge in to talk directly to the customer. Just changing this to coach. We can click on the chat, and then we can see what our agent's working. The supervisor's watching the agent. They can read back, and they can sort of offer some advice to the agent. Offer a temp phone. Now that's gone to the agent, and we can see that down here, but the customer wouldn't see that in this coaching setting. We could change that. So the same functionality works with voice calls, and you can listen, coach, and barge. So I'm going to finish this chat, and we can go back to the intranet, and we can see the customer has been presented with a survey. And again, same as the voice, this goes straight back. And we can also have a transcript of the chat sent to them by email. These are configurable survey questions. Okay, now, the supervisors checked everything's okay. They can monitor other agents, or we can use a wallboard to see how things are going. These consist of easily configured widgets to build up rich data sets that you need to supply to agents, managers, and supervisors across the organization. You can build multiple of these, and you can publish them to different groups as required. Okay, outbound notifications. Going back to Ivanti, to Heat. Expanding further on ITIL principles, let's look at the change process and how we can improve communications. This can assist an organizations to connect to all those involved and make sure they receive the information they need. Here we have a current open change. We have the ability with integration to send SMS notifications based on certain statuses being reached. We can send out directly using SMS announcements. With special announcement type, we can send SMS to specific groups associated with a change. And while some of those associated might be automatically linked, request to owner, etc., using a subscription group allows for better management of individuals to notify through linking. BrightPattern handles responses from SMS to take updates and acknowledgements back to the system. For instance, SMS integration would allow you to receive emergency change approval late at night. Okay, moving on to quality management. Show the supervisor screen and the quality management view. So BrightPattern has an inbuilt module called Quality Management that provides the tools to assess the quality of the service desk communication across all the channels. It allows for a managed process using recordings, transcripts, and analysis of interactions, enabling you to perform focused evaluations using forms that can be customized to match the service desk metric, match your service desk metrics and KPIs. I'm showing the quality management admin view of the world at the moment. They can see the state of all the evaluations across the system and drill down. The other roles, reviewers, supervisors, and agents have different views targeted to what they need to manage. Searches are built and used to pick the right sets of interactions to appraise. These can be randomly chosen like these, or based, you can see quotas across a certain time period, or using criteria such as these. Low sentiment scores, low survey scores, or potentially looking for a phrase or keyword like legal. This operates across all chat and voice channels as we can transcribe the calls. Okay, I'm going to go into survey scores and look what's been going on there. We can see what we need to actually evaluate. So I look down here, I can see chats and calls with low survey scores. You can see one here with a sentiment analysis against it. So I'm going to look at this one. Okay, I can see the transcription. And on the right side, I can see evaluation form. So this is associated with a particular service. It's customizable. You create the criteria and answers are weighted to produce an overall score. We review and step through transcriptions. You can see the sentiment analysis as we go, and we can answer the questions in our form. At certain points, we might want to add attachments for training purposes, and we can add comments. And this goes against the timeline and the question for the agent to see. The completed evaluation is then sent to the agent to review and accept, and before final acceptance, which will close off the quality process. Okay, those are demonstrations, but to give you an idea of the capability of BrightPattern to configure to the customer needs, here's the administrator screen, where you build the customer's journey. It's straightforward drag and drop interface. It allows you to quickly set up utilizing links to Ivanti, conversational AI, and text-to-speech. You can see we've got lots of integrations already built into the system. With this capability, many more journeys can be mapped for the customer across the ITIL processes, such as service request provisioning, notifications and responses across all the processes, and automatically chasing open tickets. Okay, so that concludes the demo. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Richard. We actually had a question earlier in the session, but I didn't really want to interrupt at the time. And I think now that we're here at kind of the configuration of the administration screen, there was a question really with regards to when one of the incidents was created automatically, it kind of had a default priority. And then really was the question is that configurable? And the short answer is yes, right? So it really, the details about what can be created and populated, and whether it's priority 1 or priority 2 or what the details all is all really configurable based on the context of the channel or communication, right? So can you just please elaborate a little further, and then we'll go on to kind of some of the other questions that may have arose.
Absolutely, yes. We can change what that's set to. I mean, there's a default in Ivanti. I didn't change it, but in that case, but we can basically set that to anything we like. We can, like, again here, we can set variables. If you can see my screen in this journey builder, we can set to what level we need to at this stage. Now, the customer, you can always ask the customer what level to set it at. Or one thing we're doing more and more is when we sort of ask people to say, and it's this block here which does this conversational IVR block. When we get back the information, we can get back information on their sentiment. Yeah. So if I say, if you ask, what's your problem? How can we help you? Not only will it can transcribe and it can understand and push you through to the right person, it can also possibly tell you if you're upset or happy. And maybe if you're upset, we put a higher priority against it than we would if you're happy. So there's possibilities around that.
Cool, thank you. I had one other question just came in as well with regards to quick deployment. Again, I think if anybody's got any history in contact center technology, they understand quick is a relative term. Would you just provide some context to what that means when you say quick deployment? If we assume that there are customers out there that have some legacy technology in place, and there is a lot of human interaction person to person, but if we wanted to implement something quick and effective and replace some existing ACD technology, how quickly could we do this, or how quickly could this be spun up?
I mean, yeah, we always look to start at around the 2-week mark. So it's a very fast implementation. Now it can be more than that depending on your requirements and any customizations people require. But really, a couple of weeks, and that includes training and set up the system. It's very simple to set up. All the integrations are sort of pre-built, ready to go. So it's more about understanding your particular needs and getting your customer, getting your agents, and getting the team ready to use the system.
That's awesome, because I think in our past, anytime we were doing these kind of setups and deployments, we could just spend 2 weeks troubleshooting why the voice call didn't get to the agent, right? Just in terms of dealing with some of the voice over IP stuff. So that is awesome. Okay, a couple other good questions in terms of, what common mistakes should we avoid? Or maybe this may be more a question for Kevin, not sure. Just really common mistakes when we're trying to avoid or improving our ITSM. So maybe that's for you, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. And a couple of things come to mind right away. One is when we see teams struggle with improving service management, one of the biggest poisons that we have to avoid is complexity. So we've been doing service management for a long time. Many people have been on teams for some time. And what tends to happen is we just sort of build more and more on top of more and more. And so we really have to take a fresh look and make sure that these processes, even incident, service requests, change management, those are all examples that we saw today in Richard's demo. We really have to make sure those are simple and that an unnecessary complexity is taken out of that. Because what happens is complexity is hard to operate, complexity is inconsistent, complexity is not very reliable. And sometimes we have steps built into those processes that were based on a special case that only happened once in the last 10 years. And so really take a look at your complexity and make sure that everybody understands the process and the process is repeatable. And again, it can be anything, but a great place to start is just incident, because we just can't do service management well if we're not doing incident well. And so I know incident isn't very cool and incident's not very glamorous, but the fact is that's sort of where we always have to begin. So really watch out for complexity. And if you can't defend why we do something clearly and everybody agrees, then we probably shouldn't be doing it.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I think to echo his comment, what I really liked about this technology really is it provided opportunities and use cases to existing people that we work with, we know, we trust in an IT area, but it really had applicable business functions to non-IT areas that we didn't have to start there, right? We had ROI, we had quick win capabilities, I think that all of you would be able to see in your own lives. But then to have that, that other side of the pendulum where we can apply this to the business itself really gives us unlimited opportunities. So
Yeah, perfect.
One last question, I think, from the group as well with regards to just how many customers we have globally, just because it might be a new name and a new organization. I don't know whether, Shelby, if you have any logos or slides or whether you just want to speak to it, but if somebody could provide some context, that would be good.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sorry to put you on the
We caught
spot.
Shelby.
I created
surprise.
backup slides for this exact reason. You always got to have a logo slide ready, right? So these are some of our customers today. We are global. We work with a lot of partners like Ivanti, but we really work with companies of all sizes because we're in the cloud and have that quick deployment time. We really work for small companies as well as enterprise companies because we have a lot of scalability, flexibility, and customizability for, enterprise customers as well. So it's really a solution that works across the board for all industries, all company sizes. I don't know if you have anything to add, Kevin.
I was just going to say hundreds of companies, and business has been around for, I think, 10 plus years. And so it's been proven, like you said, Shelby, and lots of different size organizations in different countries and different industries.
Okay. And I guess two last questions I think from here is, what would be the next steps in terms of engaging to get more information on this? And so, really, my team will be following up. So it's Paul here from Ivanti. We'll be following up with you and to set up and get a free book from Kevin here on kind of really a practical application of best practices towards service management. So if you set up a free assessment with us, we'll send you a free book from Kevin from his series of books that you can see over top of his shoulder there. And the last thing maybe for Kevin, what we can do is just help us for the future. Are there any new developments in the ITSM world that we should be aware of? I always like to lead people with thinking towards the future rather than in the past. And then I think we also have a final question. There'll be a link to the recording that'll send out so we can distribute and you guys can share. So absolutely, when we do these things, we'll record them so that way you can share them amongst your friends. And the last question, also another question here from the panelists in terms of cost to implement. I think what we could do, we gave kind of a time frame, to get up and running. I think if we looked at a number of users as well as the use case, we'd definitely be able to give you a ballpark number. So engage with us after, and we'll be happy to give you some context to that to give you some budgetary numbers.
Paul, was there a question in there that we were going to take on? I know you mentioned a couple. What was the one you wanted us to talk to?
Yeah, it's nothing worse than, answering other things at once. So I was just trying to leave people for the future in terms of any new developments in the ITSM world that we should be aware of. Just, thinking to the future rather than the past.
Yeah, can I make a comment on that? And you can add your comment as well. I guess my comment would be is that we've been sort of process focused in service management for 30 years. Paul mentioned these shifts that have happened. The first shift was best practices that appeared in the late 90s. And it sort of trained us to be very process, structure focused and driven. And we love our technology, we love our products, we love our applications, and we love our tools. And that has been our history. But my comment would be that for the future is we have to be more business oriented. We have to be more benefit oriented. And it's a great filter to apply to everything we do in service management is we're doing all this stuff, but who benefits from it? what is the value we're delivering to the business? Why does a customer care? And that's going to be a new way to frame everything that we do. And the reality is that we're probably doing too much. We're not going to get more resources. We're not going to get more budget. IT's generally, I mean, maybe a fortunate few, it will be up a little bit, but generally budgets are flat or a little under pressure. And we're going to have new requirements. So take a fresh look at everything and re-qualify everything we do in service management in terms of who benefits from it, is the value measurable, and how is it helping the business or a customer? And if we can't answer those questions clearly, then it could just be overhead or baggage, if you will, or waste that we've carried with us from the past. But we really have to think more in terms of think on how the business is going to benefit and how we're going to help drive the business forward. And that retrains us to think differently and see differently everything that we do.
That's great, Kevin. I couldn't have said it better. I think the common term that's used too often, and we kind of fall in the trap, is like for like, right? I want to do something like for like. And to your point, we need to look at it a little bit differently as we go forward. So, well, thanks to everybody, the panelists, the participants, Shelby for organizing it, Randy for getting you here. Again, I sent it out in the chat panel. If you have some questions, you can engage. Our team will be following up with you to set up a one-on-one session, and we really do appreciate your time that you spent with us and the opportunity to engage with you one-on-one. We look forward to that as well. So thanks again to everybody. Thanks, Shelby.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, calls.